Welcome back to How To Craft Fair. Today's video is episode number 2 in the booth review series where I take a look at a real craft booth submitted by one of my YouTube subscribers, and I'll show you some areas of strength that they're doing really well in their booth and also some areas where there's a little bit of room for improvement, and hopefully I can offer up some tips and advice on how to take that next step to make the booth better. So be sure to watch until the end of the video where I show you how you can participate to submit your booth and have your booth featured and reviewed in a future video. Without further ado, let's jump right in. All right, and so for this episode, we are looking at Sam's booth, and Sam's business is Pages of Magic. So Sam is based out of North Carolina, and they actually just had their first craft fair about a month ago. Okay, so they are brand new to hitting up the craft fairs. So the first thing I like to look at is displays. All right, so let's zoom in just a bit here. Take a closer look. All right, so first of all, right off the bat, I'm seeing a pretty wide variety of items as it is. Stationary stuff. So we have pens, pencil cases, journals, right? Some sticker sheets, bookmarks, notepads, stickers. So a lot of things covering the whole stationary theme. All right, so as far as the displays goes, we got a couple of wood crates here, right? So wood crates always a good way to display your items, and doing a good job of it too. So we got a few things stacked within, different prices for different things, so that's good, keeping them separate. And then also nice job propping up one here and using the display to get some height off that booth table. So really good there. And let's look for some other displays. So the pens, not a whole lot of different ways that you can display pens, but this is a good one. This is good. I'm not sure if that's like a mason jar or just like a glass jar there, but either way, good job separating them by colors. Looks like you have some sort of a table riser there because you're getting a little bit of height again off the table to show these other colors towards the back of the table. So that's good. This mystery pen pack, I've got it in the wicker basket here. All right. And this is probably the most eye-catching display here, I would say. Very, very cool. I'm not sure what this, was originally. Trying to read it upside down, farmer something. Anyways, very, very cool. It's just got like good character to it. It's a little bit quirky, but it really works. It works really well with the pens up top here. Not quite sure. I think these are pens still, but I'm not positive. But regardless, this is a really, really cool item to have at the booth. I really, really like it. Like I said, it's unique. It's a little bit odd, a little bit of a weird shape you don't really see very often. And then again, getting that height off the booth, very, very good. So then here we have the bookmark holder. It's doing a really good job. I really like all those little slots for the different bookmark styles. Very nice. Looks like a cork board here for the keychains and pins. All right. Okay, then a couple wood, wood. I can't think of the right word. We'll just call them holders. All right, great. And then a little bit of a mini riser here. Looks like for Post-it notes. And then of course the stickers. So we got looks like something that folds, which when you are transporting this, I bet you love this because I bet you this thing just kind of folds in itself and you just pop this sucker open and there you go. I mean, you pop it open and you're getting really good height off that table. You're able to utilize good vertical space here by having all these stickers rise up from the table. So really good job. I think that was it. Let me zoom back out so we're not missing anything here. Zoom out. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Looks like you have like some sort of maybe like an easel type of thing to hold this up. But anyway, Yeah, for the displays, you're using a really wide variety of displays, but I think that for each item that's being held or displayed on the contraption that it's being held in, you're doing a good job of it. Especially for just starting out. I think you're doing a good job of showcasing some of this stuff. All right, so second thing I like to talk about is vertical space. So we did touch on this a little bit, and I think you're kind of getting there, right? And who knows, this could actually be a picture literally of your very first booth, your first time out. So again, keep in mind that this is a brand new vendor getting out there, so doing a good job of getting off that table a little bit. Some stuff is just kind of laid on the table. It is a little bit crowded in some areas, just a touch, but just imagine if there was like 3 or 4 people in here, would it start to get like a little tight, so maybe think about spreading out just a little bit. Like I can see you have like a checkout area here for when you make a sale, which is great. But would you be better served by having maybe like a table here? I think this is a 6 foot table, maybe an 8 foot table, and just kind of start to slowly spread out a little bit. But just something to consider. So the vertical space, I think you're doing good. I like the wood crates a lot, especially having stuff on top of them. So not only utilizing the wood crates themselves to get off the table, but then boom, stack up and put something up on top. Love this right here, having it kind of propped open. This item, fantastic. And then your stickers. These are kind of like your 3 areas of vertical space right here. Right here with the crates, your funky, awesome pen holder, and then your stickers right here. So I think there is a little bit of room for improvement when it comes to this. Maybe go a little bit more aggressive on the riser on these pens. So that would be kind of cool to see. Like I think this riser is probably about the same height as this riser right here. I'd like to see something maybe that's even used for tumblers, where tumblers will have like for each step, maybe it's like 4 inches instead of like maybe 2, that is, or something. I think those would really kind of pop if you got them about double the height. So that would be kind of nice. But yeah, again, doing a really good job here, realizing that you do have your vertical space to work with and you're starting to take advantage of it. So next thing is signage. Okay, so there is a lot of signage at this booth, and let's kind of zoom in here and break down some of it. All right, so we'll start left to right again. And basically, I think what we're going to be looking at the most here is signage for individual items and prices. So I think that's what you've kind of focused on so far. So when it comes to your prices, I do see some bundle pricing. Okay, so these items are $15 no matter if you buy one of them or 10 of them, $15, right? But then when we come over here, you start doing a little bit of bundle pricing here when it comes to like your pencil cases, $10 each, or boom, now you start doing some deals. So just look in here. Okay, bookmarks, here we go, $4 each, or you can do 3 for 10. Okay, right? So we do see some bundle pricing signage that's mixed in, and this is kind of cool right here. I like this event exclusive, right? So it looks like you're doing maybe just certain items for this show, or maybe even like a certain deal. That's kind of nice. I would even, if you're going to do something like this, like an exclusive sale or an exclusive deal, I would use a different color paper for the sign just to kind of make it pop a little bit. Like, hey, get it while you can. Like, this is your only shot, so draw a little bit more attention to that by using a different color paper than the rest of your signage. And that might be, that might draw some eyes to that deal, maybe get some additional items moving. But yeah, that's about it as far as the signage. It looks like it's just kind of the pricing and the item's name. That's really about it. So we come over here to this signage, and I really, really like this. Really like this a lot. I don't know if this was like an old shutter, from building or something, or what this is, but really cool shape. Again, you got some like whimsical things starting to develop here. You've got like a really, really cool shaped sign here. We talked about this thing. This is fantastic. So I like where you are headed with that. Anyways, when it comes to the sign here, love having the business name front and center. Boom. Welcome to Pages of Magic Stationery Company. Fantastic. And then just, listing off what you do too. A lot of people forget about this. A lot of people have like a cool banner or a cool sign, but it'll be like a really neat logo and then like that's it. Or maybe like their logo and then like their Instagram or whatever, handle is on there, but they don't put like what they actually feature at their booth. So I like this a lot. I really, really like this entire thing. Really good job. Yeah, I like the way this is drawn on, different colors and things like that. Very neat. Really good job of this. And then we come up top and we have your payment method signage, which is absolutely fantastic. You got the QR code, and then you got the Square reader, everything that would be accepted within Square. And also, we accept cash, cards, and Venmo. So it's all listed on there, and it's right at your checkout table. So, again, for a new vendor, you're doing a really, really good job with your signage. Okay, so let's talk about marketing. So, marketing is, obviously driven by how you're advertising your business. Who are you? What do you sell? How can I get a hold of you? Things like that. So, um, huge, huge banner at the back of the booth, not obstructed by anything. So that's one of the challenges when we start talking about like vertical space, like at a booth. So I think you've done a really good job here of kind of yanking this thing as high up as you can on the canopy so that none of your banner is obstructed by the verticality at your booth. So you're doing a really, really good job there of kind of maxing out some vertical space here, but then also making sure that this is crystal clear to anyone of any height walking through your booth. So let's take a look at the banner itself. Really cool logo. Again, whimsical, interesting, kind of makes you think. It's really, really memorable, right? You got the book opening and like it just kind of sticks with you. So I really like the logo front and center. You got your handles here. Really quick, while we're talking about marketing, I like that at least 2 out of the 3 handles match. It is really tricky to try to get all your handles to match perfectly, but when you're first starting out as a vendor and you're coming up with like a name for your business, this is kind of one of the things to consider is you want to have like as many of your social handles and your email or your website or whatever to match. You want to make it as easy as possible for people to find you everywhere on all those platforms. So good job of, trying to make them all match. Instagram, unfortunately, this was probably gone. So you had to add the shop, but again, having them on there is fantastic. And I like that, you've tried to stay as uniform as possible with them all. That's great. Over here, again, you're hitting on what you offer at your booth. So you got it here on your sign by your payment area, and then you got it up here again. So sometimes shoppers will come into a booth and they will start taking pictures of stuff, and like some vendors get a little bit freaked out by this, because you're like, oh my god, they're like stealing my ideas or things like that. Some shoppers honestly are like socially awkward. Like, I mean, me, for example, like I try not to talk to anybody out in public. Um, so sometimes it's kind of cool just to take a picture of a banner, like, and especially if they like purchase something from you or they're thinking about purchasing something from you or they want to show their friend, like, it's a good idea to have what you do on your banner because if somebody takes a picture of it, that's a good way for them to figure out, oh, okay, yeah, Pages of Magic was that person that had all that cool stationery stuff. So again, really, really good banner. I really, really like it a lot. Um, yeah, that's about all I have to say for that section. I can't see, I don't see business cards out. So again, with you being a new vendor, maybe you didn't have business cards yet made. Totally understandable with only being, about a month old into the craft fair game, but again, just one of those things to kind of consider. So you got the really nice banner, and maybe make some room for some business cards, but carry that theme through. You have a really, really nice theme going. So if you do get around to business cards, make sure that you kind of keep that going onto those. All right, so the next category we talk about is pricing, and pricing is something that you have done very, very well at your booth. It is very obvious what everything costs at this booth. I kind of talked about this in the last video, but when you have your items grouped together in a way like this, where all the pencil cases are here, the journals are here, the pens are here, when you have things grouped together like this, it's not necessary to put a price tag on every individual thing. That's kind of just overkill, and really it's probably going to burn you out, So this is a really smart way of doing it. Just group things together at your booth and have things priced by the grouped items. Here's the keychains, $6, the pins, $5. Great. Okay, everything is grouped together and priced accordingly. We did touch on some of the bundle pricing that you have. Let's pull in a little bit. Okay, so the stickers are a good example. You have bundle pricing displayed here, where if you buy one, it's $4 each, or if you pick up three, it's going to be $10. Okay, cool. So you have some bundle pricing opportunities, and to try to encourage those multi-sales, those multi-item sales. Let's see here. Another thing to consider with pricing is that you want to try to cover 3 different price points at your booth. You want low priced items, medium priced items, and high priced items. Now, what exactly those numbers translates to is subjective, of course, what people think is a high priced item. But I think you have some decent variety here. Let's see. I think the journals are the most expensive. I'm not quite sure over here, like what this item is. It's a big item. So this could very well be the most expensive item at the booth. I can't see enough of it to know what it is, and I don't see like the tag for this one over here. So this could very well be, hitting that high priced item at the booth. So there is that to consider, but then you also have $15 items. Then we go to $10 items, and then you have a lot of items that are in that low price range. So we see $5 each, $3 each for the tapes, pin, $5, keychains, $6, and the stickers were $4. So you have a lot of your booth dedicated to the low priced items. So maybe I would consider kind of pushing the boundary just a little bit. Not to say that half your booth all of a sudden has to be items that are $25 and up, but definitely like start to think about offering something that is maybe like $15 to $25, so that if you make those transactions during your show, you can really start to not only get your booth feedback, but start to build up profit for the day. Whereas these little items, you probably sell a lot of these little items, but then again, it's like you have to do a ton of transactions to start building off that big profit for the show, So just something to consider. Again, like I said, you're doing a good job with the bundle pricing, offering some bundle deals, but then maybe a little bit more of the medium to high price items at the booth, just to offer kind of like a more balanced pricing system. Okay, so the next thing that we talk about is colors, contrast, and texture. So let's pull out here, go back. Okay, colors, contrast, and texture. So I'm going to start with your banner, because I feel like you put a lot of thought into not only the banner as a whole, but also your logo. And then I did notice on the banner that, like this purple, kind of like the gas cloud in space, whatever we have going on here. This purple here is carried through over to this notebook, right? So like there is a push towards this purple color. And then I feel like there is the blue going on as well. You also have, you do have like a table runner here that is kind of like a sky blue. You know, let's zoom in on that a little bit, just take a little closer look, because that's something that we haven't talked about yet, is that like the table runner. So okay, you have this going across both booths here, and yeah, can't really tell exactly what color it is. It's just like a light blue. All right, so it doesn't quite match this. It's close, but not quite there, you know. um Anyways, I think you have like a good vision. It feels like you have a good vision for where you want to take this booth theme wise, but you know, you are a newer vendor, and it takes time to build those things up. You know, it's going to happen little by little. Even over here, check out over here on the sign, you know, we have that same blue and purple color going on, right? So you're definitely starting to touch on that, but it's going to come. It's going to come with some time, and I feel like you have a really good idea for where you want it to go. So again, not going to touch too much on that. Um but it feels like you're doing a good job of at least establishing a theme. Okay, so when it comes to the strength of the theme, again, you know, you're kind of newer, but I think this is going to end up being a really, really good booth. It just feels like you have something really specific in mind for the theme, where you want this to go, and things like that. So, um, with the purple and the blue, I feel like these are really, really nice colors to choose because they contrast each other well. So as you start to really embrace this theme, they look good together, you know. So I like the purple and the blue. There's not a whole lot else that we can kind of touch on when it comes to this. But what about your pricing signs, right? So like the blue is kind of like a nice, light, bright, noticeable color. Consider changing those pricing signs to match this blue. You know, I think I would kind of like that, because then you would have like just a consistent like splashing of that theme happening all over the booth, right? Without it being disruptive. It's more like complementary. Um, One thing I want to say with themes is that, you know, you always want it to be complementary. You want it to complement your items. You don't want it to steal the show from your items. So you always want the focus to still be on your items. But just keep that in mind, you know, just don't go absolutely insane with it where there's so much going on that, you know, your items are completely lost in the mix. But go ahead and lean into that theme. I think you have a really nice vision going, and yeah, I think it would turn out really nice with that purple and blue kind of mixed in there on the prices. Okay, so the next subject we should talk about is accessibility. Um, when I refer to accessibility, I'm talking about shoppers actually getting into the booth safely, getting out of the booth safely, no tripping hazards, things like that. Can you get close to the items? Can you view them? Things of that nature. So I think that you've done overall a pretty solid job here, especially again, a newer vendor. Um, I did mention this before, that I feel like there is a little bit of room to kind of spread out. The items do feel a little bit tight in here, especially like in this middle section right here. I feel like you're doing pretty good here. You know, it feels like breathable over here. And then over here, it's kind of getting tight, but here it's really tight. It feels really tight. So again, I think this is a 6 foot table. I would consider getting this out to an 8 foot table. And then I don't know if there's something on this side of the booth, like kind of like where, like, I don't know if there's something on the right side of the booth, or it's just kind of open where it's like the left side and the back, and that's it. Um, but that's like something I would suggest, is to just branch out a little bit. Um, Let the items breathe as you start to increase the verticality of your booth. You know, we talked about the pen risers maybe being like double the height. That's naturally going to make things like spread out a little bit more. So keep that in mind too, that it's not really just even spreading out horizontally, but like also vertically, you know, so like there's some space here, there's some vertical space here. Um, you'll kind of fill that in, as time goes on. But overall, I think it's a pretty accessible booth. There are a couple of items down here near the bottom that they're close to sticking out. So just tuck those in just a little bit more so that a foot doesn't get caught on those and whatnot, and also just for visual, reasons, just to kind of keep it looking a little bit more tidy. But overall, I think you've done a really good job here of accessibility. People being able to get in, check the stuff out, and then go ahead and check out. It's kind of like a nice flow too. So they come in here, check out, and then boom, they go ahead and pay you a bunch of money for all that awesome stuff they just got, and then head on out. So that part is nice. Okay, so the next thing we should talk about is the general use of space. So I think what might be kind of neat here, again, is a table runner, just having something hanging down. And I know that you have a runner hanging long ways on the table, and that does give the eye, like a little something extra, instead of just like the black tablecloth on all four sides. Um, Also, I do like that, again, you've used the crates to have items on top of and things like that. So also good. But yeah, general use of space, I think you're doing a pretty good job here. You do have a lot of items. It's actually kind of funny because usually when vendors like start out, they won't have too much out there because they're just getting started. So um, I bet that you're a pretty established, Etsy seller or something like that, because you have quite a bit of stock for being, first time out kind of deal. So, good job of having so much stock out there, because like one of the worst things that you can do is come to a show and sell out. People tend to brag about selling out at shows, and I never understand it, because if you sell out, that means that you were selling a lot of stuff and you ran out, and that's not good. You want to literally make as many sales as you can all the way up until the final minute of the show. You do not want to sell out. So, good job bringing a whole bunch of stock, but this will kind of get spread out a little bit more as time goes on, and I think that'll be a good thing for you, just to kind of give it some air, some breathing room, for people to come through, and also for the items themselves. Like when things are kind of packed together, they kind of lose their thunder a little bit. So just imagine if there was about 6 inches gap between these pens, and then like this display right here, and then like another 6 inches over here, and kind of same thing here, same thing here. Like each thing is going to have its own spotlight, as opposed to being like one big kind of smushed together continuous display of items. So keep that in mind too, that when you start to kind of spread out, just make sure that you're giving each category of your items its own little spotlight. Okay, and the final thing that I like to assess or look at, or whatever you want to call it, is the eye test. All right, so this is just a very generalized look at your overall booth, kind of first impressions. They say that you only have a few seconds to catch the attention of shoppers at a craft fair. So let's take a look at some things that we have not talked about yet. All right, so we touched on the banner, your sign, right? We have not talked about the side panel of the canopy here, this big blue side panel of the canopy, and I actually love it. Okay, because what it does is, and you can tell that you're actually like in like a really wooded area, and this is a really difficult background to deal with at a booth, because it's like crazy contrast. You have the dark brown of the tree with the sky super bright, and then the leaves are kind of popping, so it's like all these different colors. It's kind of just like overload visually. You've blocked all that distraction out, and you've made it so that the eyes focus directly on your items, right? Because if this was not here, and you had all this like just color popping behind these items, I guarantee you these items would get a little bit lost in that crazy background. They would not pop the way that they do against this flat color. So excellent job having this panel up here. Also, I mean, it's it's there for many reasons, right? So like if you start to get, crazy weather, whether that be wind or rain, obviously that blocks that from disrupting the booth. But think about these things visually too, the impact that they can have on the booth visually. So it's doing a wonderful, wonderful job of keeping people's eyes focused right here, right where you want them to be. So that is something to consider. Um, yeah, overall, like I said, I think you're doing a really, really good job here. I think you've got like a nice start to your theme with the purple and the blue. It's starting to kind of come together. Um, I think I'd like maybe even like another table runner right here, just because this is like such a big, flat, like black shape facing out. And this right here is taking up a lot of the real estate at the booth visually, so maybe I would have a table runner coming here with just the logo, just the Pages of Magic logo right here, boom. And I think that'd be really, really cool. And again, you don't want to do like, you don't want it to be like overkill. You don't want to go too hard with it where now you're starting to steal attention away from the items and towards stuff. But I feel like you're going to have a pretty good grasp on this. It seems like you've got like a really nice start to this. So again, this sticker thing, this folding thing, really, really cool. It would be sweet if it was one of these colors, but that's what I would say is just start injecting these colors into the booth and keep the background going so that you eliminate the distractions behind the items. And that's really about it. I feel like you're doing a pretty good job of pushing your brand, telling people what you do, what you make, how to get a hold of you, who you are, everything that you do, how much it costs. Like, you've got a lot of the bases covered here for just starting out. So again, great job. Thank you so much for sending this in and letting me review your booth. I know it's a little bit scary having your stuff out there in front of literally everybody, but it's much appreciated. I hope that there was something of value here. And if you are watching this video and you decided that you would like to have your booth reviewed, head on over to my website at the link below. And by the way, check out all the links below for Pages of Magic. And please follow them on social media right here and in the links in the description. But if you want your booth reviewed, go ahead and check out my website. There is a page specifically for booth reviews, and you can get a hold of me that way. As always, thank you so much for watching. To check out all of the booth review videos, check out the playlist above, and I hope you have a wonderful day.